What's up, guys? I'm Cooper Abercrombie. I own Bar-A-BBQ in Montgomery, Texas, and I am at Eminem Barbecue Company in Toole, Texas today. And I'm going to be cooking brisket on their new backyard pit, the Texas Smoke King. I'm going to be giving you guys my honest opinion and feedback on the pit, as well as showing y'all how we would cook brisket on this pit if we were in the restaurant world. So guys, y'all stay tuned. I can't wait to show you what we have coming up. All right, guys, first step for any brisket cook is obviously getting this thing trimmed up. So we've got 2 briskets here I picked up from H-E-B down the road. It's just a regular choice grade. Guys, so first step is always taking that decal out. Get it nice and flat. I'm gonna flip her over. Get this mohawk out of here. Take that, that's your seam fat. So the biggest deal when you're trimming, guys, you just want to give yourself nice, clean, round edges to work with. If you get that, that's always step 1, and that's honestly the most important part. You can, it's hard to save a poorly trimmed brisket on the block. So we try and spend a little bit extra time at the restaurant, taking our time, making sure we're leaving the proper fat coverage, and we're not leaving any sharp corners. Like this sharp corner right here is something, if you left on, it's gonna burn up and crisp up no matter how well you run your fire. So we'll round it out. And this one doesn't feel too terribly fatty. We are going to save this fat from this cook and try and cook it down and get some tallow to wrap this thing with later on. As far as there, guys, I'm looking solid. Take a little bit off that back side. I know y'all love when I scrape the board with that knife, that nice sound it makes. Any audio gurus out there, tell me how to take that out. That'd be great. Cool. This thing feels about like I'm a 1/4 inch around. Maybe a little bit heavy back here. Nothing too bad. All right, so we're gonna get this bad boy seasoned up and get it ready for the pit. First step is always hitting it with that Rio Spice coarse black pepper. This is their 16 mesh here. I will have a QR code in the lower third as well as a link in the description to order this. Always backside first, non-presentation side, which running on offsets, our heat source coming from the firebox, not from below us. So we are gonna cook fat side up on this. Then we're gonna hit it with that Rio Spice Seasonal. I'm really excited to show you guys this pit from Eminem. I know there's been a lot of hype on it. Personally, I'm really excited to get to cook on it myself. I love the Goldie's pit, so I really think this one's gonna be a fun one to cook on. We'll go a nice layer of that 16 mesh. So guys, when it comes to seasoning, there's a couple principles you really have to kind of pay attention to. If you want a darker product, it's always more pepper. If you want more of a red product, it's less pepper. Smoke and heat are attracted to rigid, wet surfaces. So that rigidness comes from our black pepper. The wetness comes from that salt, that seasonal pulling that moisture out. and then our cook chamber is going to introduce the smoke and the heat in that environment. And over time, we're going to break down this fat, and you're going to watch the color change throughout that cook. So if you want more of a red tone to any protein you have, go lighter on the pepper. If you want a darker product, go a little bit heavier, but you still have to introduce smoke. If you put a ton of pepper on here and just ran clean the entire time, you're not gonna get the same color as introducing a little bit of smoke would. So we have that 16 mesh on there. Hit a layer of that seasoned salt. And I'm probably breaking the rules when I say this, but I'm gonna be real with you guys. We don't season all the sides of the brisket at Bar-A. Again, it goes back to that principle I said earlier about smoke and heat are attracted to wet, rigid surfaces. So if I can avoid attracting any excess heat to that thinner part of the flat or the opposite side on that lean side, I'm gonna try not to do it. Now, when it comes to the back side on the point where the kind of those burn ends, the money bites are, I do wanna season those because there's a lot of fat there that needs to be broken down. And this little bit of bump from the pepper and the seasonal is going to introduce just enough rigidness to attract some excess heat and smoke there. And I'm going to let this sit out for like 20, 30, 40 minutes, basically long enough to let the salt kind of activate. I'll know it's activated once it has that nice wet sheen to it. That tells me the salt's penetrated, it's pulling it out, it's doing its job. We're going to put this in the fridge overnight in some pans. We'll get back here about 3:30 in the morning tomorrow, and we're going to fire up that Texas Smoke King and cook this brisket and see what we get. Stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, it's around 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning here in Toole, Texas. I have the Texas Smoke King behind me. I've got the brisket on. I've got my fire set. I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all that kind of bundle fire setup. So this is how I would cook on this pit based on how we cook every day at the restaurant. I'm gonna be honest though, it's my first time cooking on this pit, so I don't know if this is gonna work. We're gonna find out together. So I've got 2 logs on the bottom that are fairly dense, not green, but dense. And then I put like 4 smaller, really light logs kind of in between there and kind of in between the crevices of each other. So it's gonna like make the fire a little bit harder to breathe, but this will put a good amount of smoke and color and give me a great coal bed to work with. So I'm gonna shut my stack down to about 80%, 90%, somewhere in there, and then shut the door intakes as well to have just enough airflow to keep a flame going. I want a nice, slow, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours of good solid smoke and coal bed building this first initial stage. You've got 5 notches for 5 different settings for your stack. I have it set to 1 before completely shut. So that's about 80%, 90% shut right there. We're gonna leave it tacked there for at least the first couple hours of this cook. All right, guys, it's about 9:30 now in the morning. We've been running this pit since about 3:30. We built a couple bundle fires right off the bat to get us to about 200-ish and really, really smoky. I am gonna say I ran into my first problem I had with the pit, and it was the coal bed size that I had built up over those first 2 fires. I quickly learned it cannot handle that much of a coal bed, and that's 100% a user error, not the pit. So, but it brings me to a good point that when any new pit you get, you always need to learn how it likes to run, how it likes to operate, and the most important factor of that is often the size of the coal bed. This pit is very, very efficient. I'm learning that firsthand. So I don't have to have a massive coal bed. I'm also able to run this pit and maintain 250, 260 now on like 2 splits, which is super nice for, you know, the amount of wood you're gonna have to use. Also have the notch system, which I love the notch system. I've been running this on this like 80% shut notch this entire cook. I don't see a reason to change that at all, but you can go to wide open to fully shut and you just go over the notch you want, drop it in. Super handy, super nice to have that. So like I said, it's about 9:30. Let's show y'all what we're looking like right now. We're getting some great color on this brisket. It's really starting to take on some good tones. At this point, guys, we've been running 200, 225-ish and really smoky. I'm gonna now bump our temps to 250 until we hit that stall. A lot of trucks here in Tool, Texas. So I'm gonna bump the 250, guys, until we hit the stall. I'm gonna hit that stall. I'm gonna know I'm in that stall when it gets to that nice, wet, and kind of tight-looking look to it. And then I'm gonna temp it dead middle. And then when I'm in like the mid 160s to maybe low 170s, I'm in the stall. I'm gonna run 250 till I hit that. And then when I hit that phase, I'm gonna bump the 275 until I'm out of the stall. And for me, a good indicator will be when I temp it and I'm in like the upper 170s, low 180s, I'm out of the stall at that point. From that point, we're gonna bump to 300 and then finish at 315, maybe the last 45 minutes to an hour. So stay tuned, guys, we'll keep cooking.
That's some good looking wood.
Good looking wood. They call me Captain Woody. All right, guys, I am in the heart of the Eminem global headquarters right here in Tool, Texas. And I'm gonna show y'all the newest edition of the Texas Smoke King. And as much as I love cooking on it so far, I figured I might as well have the two pros that designed it and build it every day tell you exactly what makes it one of the coolest pits out there on the market. So Mike, Matt, you guys take it away, man. What are some of the cool features this pit has that no other pit has on the market right now?
So in my opinion, really, this is probably the most unique backyard offset on the planet. So this is probably 5 years in the making of pure commercial experience. So we have taken all of our 5 years of testing of our commercial offsets and crammed it into a 100-gallon package. So
I love it. I know y'all talked about the stack quite a bit. I love the notch system so far. What was kind of the idea? You know, and I'm playing on kind of that fourth hole. What are the notches set at? Are they 10, 20%?
It's a 20-degree swing.
Okay.
So the whole idea behind this was with the traditional stack, you really don't ever quite know where you are every time. It's a little bit different, and we're all about, even if it's training, if you wanted to teach somebody, your friend, someone how to do this, you can say, hey, listen, I like it on position 3, and it's in. It's not gonna move, it stays. This is exactly 40% damper closed. Same every time. The wind can't move it, you can't bump it, you can't knock it out. If it's out of level or it's sitting somewhere weird, it can't slide off. So
I can tell you firsthand from running a restaurant, one of the hardest parts is teaching guys how to operate pits. And having little features like that where I can say, hey guys, position 3, position 4 at this time, at whatever time, that cuts down a lot of that learning gap that we have to teach guys. So that's such a great feature and a great design by you guys. I know, Mike, you had some stuff you wanted to bring up as well.
Yeah, I mean, you just said it right there, that we're trying to make it more simple and easier to train people. You know, I went to a pit room and they had them going through the stack. Now, the stack going through the roof. Well, they couldn't see where their damper was. So they were pretty much guessing, or they'd have to get on top of the stack or on top of the roof and look at it from there. But this right here simplifies it. Say, hey, set on 3, 4, 2, and that way that you can really dial in and train people how to cook perfectly on these, from our small ones all the way to our big ones.
Awesome. And this is a standard feature on all the pits going out?
That's standard on every single M&M you buy.
What are some of the other standard features on this pit that it comes with?
There's a bunch of them, really.
Yes.
What a lot of people probably don't realize is these are actually press-in bearings. So the door on this is bearings. These are press-in bearings. So everything on this is meant to feel.
What's the significance of a press-in bearing? I don't
Think a more refined feel. So instead of hearing a squeaky bearing or things on top of each other, if you open this, as you can tell it's silky smooth. It's a sealed bearing, so no matter how long this is out in the weather or raining, it's not going to squeak and squeal on you. Like I said, everything is extremely effortless and really, really smooth.
It definitely makes it feel, and I've had people come in with ones that we do that don't have the bearings, and then ones that have the bearings. It definitely makes it lighter, because you have friction, that means that's metal on metal grinding against each other. So you're having that overall friction as you're opening it up. The bearings are so smooth and silky smooth that it's nice and easy. I've had 5-foot females open this up and open some of the other ones up that don't have the bearings, and they're like, oh, this is nice and easy. Yeah. Where the other one, they're actually struggling to get it up. So it definitely helps cut down on the weight because of the friction.
You get the counterbalance feel without having to deal with the massive, mohawk of a counterbalance weight on top of this thing. I agree with the cooking on the one outside. It's been great. Wow. I see it's got a grease spout. Love having that. Enough room for a bucket too, which is another big thing a lot of guys don't think of, is having enough actual clearance to put a bucket under there. A lot of guys think to put this, but guys, they don't ever give you the space to do anything with it. So that's a great feature there. I love the beautiful thermometer. Is this Tell-True?
Yes, it's Tell-True.
Best in the business, guys. They get no better than that. It's a beautiful custom one with the Eminem background and the logo. Show me the firebox. Let's swivel this thing around. So let's talk about the firebox, guys. I love the design of it. I've been cooking on it all morning. I can't tell you guys how cool it is, the ability to fine tune the fires. Because I mean, every little centimeter you move it, I've noticed adjustments with the fire throughout the entire cook. Y'all have that thing dialed in. What was the thought behind that? Why that design?
It really came down from our commercial offsets. We cook a lot too. We don't just build. I really enjoy having full control of my smoke, fire, how I want it. This gives you control at the stack, which is where I do the majority of it. But this allows you to really fine tune it. If you want to snuff this thing out, you can snuff it out. If you want just a little in and all this, and all it is you watching how you're controlling your coal bed, your wood, and its intake. You can back it up as much as you want on this, and y'all will see that in this video today. You had this thing humming earlier. Yep.
Perfect. So one of the things I really love is the handles on here. I love the door. And I will say, and I brought this up to you guys earlier, I love how big and open the firebox is. The fact that I'm able to put full-size splits in that firebox is such a massive time saver for me. And honestly, it makes it less of a pain in the ass. And the easier you can make this stuff for the backyard guys, the better it is for everyone involved.
Yeah, the opening of this really came from Mike wanting to have the biggest opening humanly possible. It makes messing with your coals easier. Also, what a lot of people don't realize, that we'll get into the inside in a minute, but we'll explain there's insane differences in this than a traditional backyard offset.
Yeah.
Not only that, it's a 20-inch firebox, but a massive opening, but it's also a 28-inch long firebox. So there's not a split you can't fit in this thing. And then as we turn this in a minute, you'll see why it's 28 inches and what's actually going on inside of here. That's extremely unique.
Yeah, guys, I've been putting full-size splits in this thing all day. It's the same size splits I'd put in our 1000 offset, our 1K rotisserie. You can use the same splits the pros are using, so you can buy the same wood from those guys, which oftentimes the wood from the guys we're buying from is cheaper than the stuff you guys are buying. So that's another cost savings there as well. Mike, I love the pit. I've loved cooking on it so far. Let's talk about price point and lead time. Where are you at right now on this pit?
Yeah, so right now the lead time is about 16 to 20 weeks, right in there. And the price, and most of everything you see right here is standard features, and the price is $39.95. So it's a really good price for the amount of technology, which you see what in the inside what we have going right here. So we put a lot of love and our heart and soul into this guy. So $39.95 is what we're going for it.
I love it, guys. Under $4,000 for this high level of a smoker is, that's just you're not going to beat that deal, guys. I love this pit, Mike. I've also talked to Mike, and we have agreed to that any pit y'all purchase between the day this video drops, which will probably be February 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere around there. And when you order the pit, if you put in code Bar-A-BBQ, they're going to throw in a free Thermopin thermometer to go with you as well. So that's something every guy needs. It's an essential barbecue tool. So remember, code Bar-A-BBQ for a free Thermopin with every pit you purchase from Eminem. Mike, I know you talked about, you really wanted to show people kind of the inner workings of what makes this thing really, really tick. So what are some of the cool things that makes this pit be the best on the game?
So, like I said earlier, this is really like 5 years of commercial development, and our whole goal when we started building offsets was to try and fix what we call the first door problem. 1,000 gallon on most offsets is a pretty much a 750. Like the whole door is useless. So our goal is to how do we fix that? And that's what we've been, trying to chase perfection over the years. And we've landed here because we're pretty damn close. So the unique part of the firebox first, what we said, this is actually a 3-inch firewall. So there's actually ceramic insulation in here because we have a dual entry system. So if you look in here, this is our upper section. And this is the upper bypass section. So not only does the heat come in through the bottom, it comes up and over the top. The bulk of your heat, as heat rises, comes up over the top. So everything we do on here is a blade system. If you look, they're actually fanned at 7.5 degrees out. If I can consistently control how heat is delivered the same every time, you're gonna have an easier cook. So same heat delivery, the same every single time. There's less guessing in it.
Cool. Matt, so I know you mentioned the heat diverter. Do you have maybe that piece where we can kind of show the customers why that is such a critical part of the...
Yep, so the second critical part of the heat diverter is the lower section. So like I said, there's a lower opening and there's an upper opening, which allows us to leap over this and neutralize the heat to where it's not overly hot here. So the lower section is actually at the bottom cooking grate. And if you look under it, the heat is coming in from this side, and it's actually a bladed system. If you look under it, this is where it collects the heat coming out of your firebox. So not only is it here, it kicks out left, it kicks out right, and then allows a small amount here. So basically what we've attempted to do is neutralize this hot spot right here and fan it out even while it's coming up over the top and underneath it.
That's incredible. So it sounds like you guys have heard the problems we've all had as far as the guys doing this for a living is residual heat, residual heat, residual heat. We're always trying to cut back on how much residual heat's getting into the cook chamber. It seems like you guys have it dialed in. I know this is the design you have on your big pits. Now it's brought to the backyard guys. I mean, that's a flat out game changer, man. That's great stuff. Really appreciate you showing us that. And then to pick back up, that's one end of the smoker. Now we get into the other end. So Matt, what about the collector and why is this collector so unique?
So pretty much the same thing as we try to do with all this. If you notice the theme, we have diverter blades, directional blades in the lower, directional blades at the top. So now, not only with the insulated firewall, upper directional blades and bottom, I'm breaking the heat up. So there's no concentrated single hot spot. Now what we want to do is collect it the exact same way. So we've always been fan of collectors since day one, since we started doing this. I think they work more efficiently. Our collector individual number one, this angle is not just style and looks, even though I think it looks good. But the whole purpose of this was to move. Everyone that's cooked on a hot set knows they tend to get kind of hot right here, back where all that heat is hitting the wall and collecting. So this is intentionally to move that hot spot back further. And so the next point of not just moving it back further, as this heat is coming in, instead of coming and just hitting the back wall, I'm already starting to collect and direct it towards the stack. So if your heat's coming here, not only is it all gonna hit, it's gonna get kicked over this way. This way you have a more efficient, collection and exit of your smoke and your heat.
Great. So why I love that, guys, is Matt, how big is the cooking surface on this?
It is 48 inches inside.
So basically for us non-science guys that I don't understand why they build them or how they build them. I just know how to cook on them. And what I love about that is I get every square inch of this cook surface to actually use because it's the truth. In most pits you cook on, that first row and that last row, usually you're putting your bigger proteins there because they're hot spots. And you want to try to, you want to time everything to finish around that same time. What they've done is they've essentially taken that hot spot and moved it to the collector. So now instead of losing that 4 to 6 inches of cooking space here, I now gain it back and it's moved here. Guys, that's high level stuff. I know I greatly appreciate the thought and the hard work and the dedication you guys put into this pit, and I'm having a great time cooking on it. Thank you. Thank you for the explanation. We really appreciate it, man.
That's what we're here for, man.
All right, guys, so we are now at about 2:30 in the afternoon. We're just about to come out of that stall on the brisket here on the Texas Smoke King. Let me show you guys what it's looking like. See, we're still probably another 2.5 hours out from being close to done, so we'll keep cooking, y'all keep watching. Thanks, guys. You good? All right, guys, just temp this brisket right in the middle. We're sitting at 195. We're gonna go ahead and pull this thing off, get it wrapped up, let it rest for about an hour, and then we'll cut into it and show you the results. Ooh. Oh, she looks good. All right, guys, so just to recap, we fired this pit up about 3:30 in the morning. We ran a bundle fire till about 8:30, 9 o'clock this morning, staying between like 200 and 225. We then bumped to 250 until we hit that stall, and then 275 out of the stall for another 2 hours, and then we finished at 300, 315 the last 2 hours of this cook. I mean, that is gorgeous. Look at that rendered fat. Oh, man. You guys, that holy render. There it is. That is beautiful. Couple slices of lean right there. Middle cut section there, guys. I don't have my scallop knife, so I am working a little bit with this slicey knife. That's a beautiful slice. Not that it matters, but there's the bend test. And if anyone tells you this matters, don't listen to them. They're full of BS, okay? Nobody really cares about that. Guys, this is honestly one of my favorite pits I've cooked on in a long time. If you need a backyard pit, I don't know why this isn't your first phone call. The brisket was great. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll answer anything I can to help you out the best I can. Stay tuned for my final thoughts on the Texas Smoke King. All right, guys, I got to officially cook one brisket on the Texas Smoke King. I sat by this pit all day long, and I played with every little lever, toy, gadget this thing had. My honest opinion, you guys already heard the specs. You heard the price from Mike. I don't know. I really don't know if there's a better backyard smoker. As far as the price point, the quality of the build, the key features you get, which from my perspective, which I cook at a commercial volume, me going from a commercial cooker to a backyard cooker, some of the things I'm looking for is ease. Being able to put full-size splits in the firebox is a massive deal to me. I'm not going to sit there and cut splits down. If I have to do that, I'm probably just not going to cook that day, being honest. I'm kind of lazy, though. The notch system. I think the notch system is incredibly intuitive and such a great idea. The ability to just say, hey, set it at slot 3, slot 4, slot 2. Again, it's making your life easier. You're not having to think as much. And the less you have to think, the more you get to enjoy just sitting back and having the fun of getting to smoke whatever you want to smoke. And that, to me, is the most important part of why we're doing this. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a good time. It's supposed to be relaxing. If you're having to constantly fight your stack, fight your wood, fight your firebox, you're not going to have fun. You might end up smoking 1 or 2 briskets a year. When it's easy, you're going to do it more often. You're going to be finding ways to try and cook on that pit more. And I think they did a lot of really good with what they did. If I was to have to go buy a backyard smoker that's under $4,000, you're not going to find something that has this quality and this build and these features. You need to hit them up. I'm going to link the description down below. It'll take you straight to the website. I'm going to have a QR code in the lower third you can scan, take you straight to the website as well. And remember, any orders placed going forward, if you mention Bar-A-BBQ, they're going to throw in a free Thermopin. So guys, that's a great deal. It's a great bundle. Please, please, please hit them up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you, and God bless.